Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this presentation. My name is Ramki, and I'm the founder CEO of a company called Prime Focus Technologies. What we're going to talk today is really sort of how we've been working over the last 7 years deploying AI in the production and post-production supply chains, and that's kind of really what I intend to talk about today. Very quickly, as an introduction. You're probably familiar with the DNEG group. Focus Technology is really part of the DNEG group. It's a subsidiary of the DNEG group. And the DNEG group is, again, one of the largest leading independent media services providers. Three different offerings. Obviously, the creative services side, on the DNEG VFX, DNEG animation, and post-production services for anything during the process of creating new content and then technology. So we offer SaaS and a bunch of technology tools, for the industry, and of course also offer media services. I think as a group we have been around for over 25 years, and again very strong emphasis on creating technology and technology for the content value chain, and in terms of again, the process of creation of the content all the way through the exhibition of the content. So very quickly, just to place, what the company does. Obviously, on the upfront, the production process is really where DNEG plays, and the production through distribution. The distribution side of it is really where Prime Focus Technologies sort of comes into play. Again. Some of you obviously familiar with this. This is some of the titles that DNEG has been sort of working on. And PFT, like I said, I started the company about 17 years ago. And again, that's the time when content was giving up physical to being digital, born digital, and there was an opportunity to digitize the entire sort of, if you will, content value chain at that point. And so that's kind of really been the excuse for starting the company. And obviously, sort of right through the construct, one was the digitization of the content supply chain itself that we invested in. We developed a technology platform called Clear, which is a SaaS platform, multi-tenanted SaaS platform. And obviously, right through it, built a significant amount of productivity enhancing sort of capabilities within the tool. And our investments in AI back in 7 years ago was quite a logical extension of that. Seeking productivity and more productivity, and AI being one of the utility sort of technologies to be able to create that. And again, I'll share with you how we've sort of really have experience not only in creating the technology but also adopting the technology, and how we are increasingly pivoting to not only productivity and efficiencies, but increasingly work using AI to create new possibilities and new monetization avenues, really. We'll talk about Clear AI, which is really the product offering, the product brand. We go by that. And like I said, we are not only a creator of AI, but we are also a consumer of the AI that we create as well. And that's very significant because I think AI looks great on the demos, but how does it really pan out when you're deploying it for production? And I think there's a lot of expertise that we have making AI work. And so we focused on three areas, all the way content creation to content distribution and content management. And clearly, like I said, our lookout for AI has been kind of, for automation, productivity enhancements, creating new possibilities. And like I said, increasingly we're pivoting for AI to kind of solve for new possibilities. And, that's where we aspire to kind of, be relevant when content meets revenue. Like I said, we're a very vertical AI company exclusively focused on the M&E space or video AI space. Over 11 patents in the last several years. And again, I think our philosophy is to kind of leverage what's out there, which is best of breed, and only build AI technology that where it has not been solved cleanly or where there are white spaces. That's been our approach. Our approach is one being a platform approach where we'll embrace, if there's a solved problem, we'll embrace models and solutions that are available, and we'll build our own models where there were gaps. Like I said, we built our own 60-odd models in the process. And one of our biggest advantages that we had is because we also had a managed services business as part of the company, that becomes a great playground for all the technology that we create. So, running the last mile and putting it to work, working for, us to earn the trust of humans. And that cycle, crossing that cycle, is something that we've been able to do very well. And there's a significant learning, both from an organizational change perspective and what we need to do, and of course, for the technology to get better and better. Like I said, cross-section of customers that we've actually deployed this for at scale. Like I said, we process now close to about 400,000 hours of content, so reasonable sort of, if you will, content that we put through the platform in production. Again, if you look at our offerings, foundationally, I think we understand video very, very well. So we have probably the richest data that we can extract on the back of content, and also a platform that can assimilate native content-related data and all the data that's there in the enterprise, and being able to pull that together in a data platform. And of course, got to build agents and applications. We're one of the first to announce a conversational chatbot in NAB earlier this year. And a chatbot that not only is used for search, but is also used to drive actions. And so search and actions, something that we announced and brought to the market in April of this year. I would say early enough, just for the larger industry, and more specifically in the entertainment industry particularly. And of course, all of this works on top of a platform. And like I said, when I talk about richest data, there are multiple tiers of data that we have. And the higher the tiers you go, the higher the fidelity of data. Higher the fidelity of data, we can kind of do a lot more with it and kind of get AI tools excel in producing if you will, outcomes with the data. And again, we also have different tiers of data to suit the wallet in terms of, and also utility, depending upon the life cycle of the content that we're dealing with. Like I said, we've pretty much very early to kind of go agentic in the process. We have an agentic platform, so this has the ability to bring in multiple agents and sort of orchestrate them, route them correctly. And again, I think the idea really is that the goodness is also from the underlying data, which is sort of data, multimodal data. We're one of the firsts from in 2018 we obtained a patent called machine wisdom, which is again how do you get how do you gather sort of wisdom from intelligence, and intelligence coming from multiple sources happens to be sort of the picture, sound, audio, graphics, and what have you, and be able to unionize and summarize what's going on, and that's sort of really what the patent was, and it's sort of that's why I think it's multimodal right from the word get-go, and leveraging that data with can bring your own third-party data and any knowledge bases that may be available within the enterprise. Harnessing this is the high-level agents that we put to work, and we can also bring in third-party agents and sort of orchestrate. And of course, as Satya Nadella from Microsoft would say that we're also the UI for video AI, and so we have a powerful sort of conversational chatbot that sort of works on top of it, in addition to a significant amount of tools that we put to work in deploying it in use cases. I'll dive deeper today on the production, post-production areas. And again, I think this production suite has a combination of offerings there. So we have a production cloud platform. Think of it as a creative, collaborative platform. We're one of the original inventors of dailies and digital dailies. We have 5-odd patents for digital dailies, original inventor of digital dailies in the industry. And manifesting that is a platform called Clear Production Cloud, where it's used for production workflows. But more specifically, I think there are 3 distinctive, agentic sort of, if you will, products that are available, which are available invisibly inside the production cloud tool, and of course available standalone for it to be consumed as standalone. So one's kind of the content discovery. We describe it as a personal content assistant, and as the word suggests, sort of conversational AI for us to find the content, leveraging that powerful data that we talked about, and also sort of this construct of taking actions on on the basis of what you're searching. Of course, we have something called a content studio set of agents, which is really think of it as a content creation co-worker, and that's really the notion of those agents. And of course, we also have content automation agents purely from a downstream technical sort of perspective. And of course, we have a developing concept of a script to stream where we're building, dovetailing these agents with the production cloud for it to be sort of, if you will, used right through the production sort of process. And so, yeah, these are, the products. And so very clearly the Clear AI is embedded within the production dailies. So we have a conversational chatbot inside our dailies platform. So yeah, all these platforms typically sort of, if you will, struggle with search. And I think, we solve that very, very well. And of course, the sort of actions that you can take with the dailies content that you will ingest and all the downstream work that you would want to do. There's a conversational AI platform underneath that production cloud software. Like I said, from a post-production perspective, one is a chatbot. The other one is we have an interesting thing called the highlights agent. So this is the ability to kind of, if you will, throw a script at it and kind of, help AI assemble, the relevant sort of, material from the underlying material. And so, yeah, this is a very powerful engine that we use. Of course, we also have a review and approval agent. So, if there are multiple cuts, you can compare cuts and sort of, give you a comparator-led view. It's a multi-frame rate video comparator that kind of, gives you a side-by-side comparison and what's changed between the cuts so that, when you're reviewing downstream cuts, there are some advantages. Last but not the least, very powerful conform agent. Multiple applications for those agents, but more specifically, this is kind of really where in the VFX workflows, be able to reconcile, edit, and the plates that are supplied, and that's a big part that sort of, huge sort of productivity enhancer in that context. Let me just roll a quick video to just sort of give you a sense of what the product is. So as you sort of saw that, there is a chatbot that kind of, pretty much search everything. And here is again where we have this ability to really take in any amount of data that's available in and associated with the content. We can extract more data from the content itself. But also interestingly, direct the right sort of discovery to enterprise data and sort of, have the right guardrails so that, you're routing that to the data that you want the AI to sort of, discover from, as opposed to sort of hallucinating. And so there are enough and more guardrails to kind of route the traffic correctly. And I think the other important thing is that this agentic workflow, the chatbot also can orchestrate workflows through simple English, right? Or through natural language. So that's the other interesting sort of functionality where you could kind of issue instructions in English to do this and that and that. And so this ability to kind of also orchestrate through just simple languages, again, very powerful. That I've seen kind of come through. And like I said, it can also take actions. It can kind of, if you will, like you saw in that video, you can, ask it to share content to sort of your colleagues. You could kind of, take a take a playlist and sort of, add it to a project. You could do many of those sort of data, typical things that you would do through simple instructions on the chatbot. And I think that's sort of, highly, highly handy in the way we kind of, see that coming through. Again, I think the highlights agent is, again, pretty interesting. Sort of, at a foundational level, we have sort of, really a multi-level sort of, if you will, ambition towards it. There is a there is a sort of, if you will, a base camp type level where just powerful video search, and you could kind of use the search to kind of assemble, the areas of interest, region of interest, kind of, create your own playlist as you go along. The mid summit's really this ability to kind of really desire to kind of ask what of it in a simple script type sort of, expression, and it kind of automatically assembles the playlist. And of course, the summit would be for it to kind of, if you will, build in a little more automation in that construct to kind of edit out, but gives you the handles to kind of, and then chat with it for replacements. Even if it has suggested playlists, you have this ability to kind of interact with the playlist and get changes before you take it to a detailed craft process, and you can go from there. And I said the review and approval that I talked about is pretty handy, where if you don't have to watch down a reel or a or a 45 minute sort of segment all along to kind of look at what changed. It's very handy. This comparator gives you side-by-side comparison, and also sort of gives you the ability to navigate to what has changed or what has got added and whatnot. The other interesting thing that's pretty cool is sort of again the idea of being able to reframe it for social. So this ability to convert horizontal sort of aspect ratios to vertical and square and other aspect ratios. And also sort of, there is a manual web-based, browser-based sort of, frame adjustment sort of functionality as well. So I think that's kind of, pretty cool kind of thing that's deployed at large. And then last but not the least, this ability to kind of, describe what the content is. And not description limited to the transcript alone, but this is a very evolved, and just like the highlights engine, there is a story. It has the ability to tell a story. And likewise, even if you clip something off a video, it's not just relying on writing the synopsis for the clip, just bases the transcript of what's spoken in the clip. But it knows where the clip has been extracted, and based on the front and back of that, it's able to creatively write a synopsis that sort of truly reflects what that clip is all about. And so again, used at large today in our deployments. And again, this ability to extract thumbnails and convert them into different aspect ratios as well. But again, I think before I go with this, I'll just conclude with the cross-section of where we've deployed it large. And again, the emphasis, when we created for, we only build technology where we are able to drive ROIs, where there is an impact that we are able to create. And I just wanted to share with you the cross-section of impact that we have created with this technology. And again, if you really look at it, YouTube for many of the customers around the world is becoming a big revenue stream. And so folks are involved in sort of, really not just publish sort of full episodic or titles, but have the ability to kind of, create, significant amount of short form and mid form content from long form and publish that. So this fairly sort of stuff. And here is a good example of where we use this technology that I showed, the powerful search agent, the conversational AI agent, and the highlights agent, and all the sort of other tools that I sort of talked about. 18 months ago to now, if you really look at it, the subscriber count has gone 3x. So there are 20 million subscribers. We were able to take it about 60 million subscribers. Video uploads on a daily basis went up 8x. And monthly revenue went up 22x. And their ROI is sort of 7x. So for every X dollars they spent on us, they earned 7x revenue from that sort of endeavor. So again, truly deployed at scale. This program publishes roughly about 400 clips a day on the various channels that I talk about. So it's fairly widely used for you to get a sense of the goodness of what we're talking about here. Likewise, cross-section of usage within the supply chain context. Again, every finished mastered episode, they extract time-coded sort of segmentation, the skip intro type data that's supplied along with the content, and extracting that. We have customers that use it, and again, a simple tool like that would save for a network, something like 300,000 pounds type on an annual kind of construct. So, they'd spend 60,000 pounds on that utility, and they'll kind of save about 300,000 pounds on that single utility. So again, those are the kind of tools that are used at large. Another example where the customer saved about $5 million using the conform algorithm on a big remastering exercises where they had many versions of the content and associated sort of subtitles and dub tracks and stuff like that. They wanted to build one global master, and ordinarily they'd spend about roughly between $750 and about $1,000 an asset to assemble this, doing it the conventional post-production way. And here is a conform agent that assembled it dynamically, and they were able to reduce the price per asset the cost per asset to about $250. So roughly they saved, we did about 10,000 assets in about 9 months. Of course, there is some human oversight, but saved about $5 million on a program like that. So again, cross-section of the fact that, when you're doing some of these, there are finite sort of, if you will, return on investment that customers have had deploying this sort of, something like a, forced narration is again a good example of where we've deployed this technology and, be able to automatically extract text from the screen and kind of, be able to, translate it and provide a human oversight to kind of go through that. So again, good examples of in the supply chain, localization, and or sort of post-production areas. This fair bit of sort of, returns. Lastly, what are we sort of focused on? Obviously, sort of, we focused on bringing in more and more agentic interventions in this sort of cycle from a production perspective, and we'll talk more as we gain more success in this area. And but like I said, well entrenched and combining a lot of DNEG technology tools. We have Ziva, as some of you may be familiar with, and a whole bunch of sort of DNEG tools in that construct will all kind of come together. And yeah, so that's sort of really what's in store, and we're quite excited to the next sort of, several quarters. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody have questions?
Yeah, the Clear is it's available to anyone, correct? And is it a SaaS model? Is that what's the business model?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, it's a SaaS application. It's a multi-tenanted SaaS application.
Questions? Oh. Yes, handsome gentleman.
Thank you, Lori. A question on the complete flow that you put on the last slide. What are some of your next focuses for this agentic philosophy? What else would you like to see automated first in your roadmap that you're not already doing? What can we look for next?
I think a cross-section of constructs, if you will. I think, we have already brought in one of the significant sort of, value adds that we brought in is a powerful search. When you're in production, there's just a whole lot of content that you're looking at, leave alone if you're doing a series and sort of, there's enough and more sort of content repositories to kind of look at from the previous sort of, if you will, seasons. So a very, very powerful conversational search sort of interface is something that's, out of the box already available. We are extending a whole bunch of actions on that interface as you sort of move forward, because we believe that this will be the new UI that we will all kind of revolve around. And obviously we'll pull in some sort of functional UIs for certain things that require a more exhaustive interface. But this will become the nucleus around which, we'll all revolve around. So we're investing a lot to kind of, get more and more actions connected to this orchestration. So that's sort of one big preoccupation that we're doing. The other preoccupation is really all about, like I said, just completing that entire chain especially as you're getting into, no more of these production workflows sequential in nature. It's very concurrent. So, technology stacks have been very fragmented. and we're trying to build connections and sort of give a more, so that you can go front and back. The data is not siloed across these various stages. Data is available more widely. That's the other sort of emphasis that we have. And sort of, building that single database, that's the holy grail. And obviously sort of, that's something that we are investing heavily to get to there.
Ramki, are you here all day today to talk to people?
Yes, I'm available today, yeah.
Okay, and where can people learn more about the product? On Prime Focus?
Yeah, that's a website. That
All right, great.
Yeah.
And are you demoing in the demo area as well?
No, but
Okay,
we're happy
so
to.
just find you, because you look like you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everybody. Let's have a big hand for Ramki. All right, we're going to be back in about 10, 15 minutes, when we're going to hear from a fantastic senior leader in our community, Hanabasi, who's going to talk to us about stability AI and how he's working with Stable Diffusion. So